is ready.
And we are live.
I didn't hit anything I'm not ready to share, and this is Ultra Podcast Z. It's lovely.
Classic Manuel.
It's lovely. Yeah, it's funny because y'all don't know this watching, and we get a lot of people on YouTube who watch it after the fact, so they especially don't know. JD asked me if I was ready, and oh shit, my mic stand is broken. Oh shit.
Also, Manuel, you couldn't even spell Janette's name properly. Speaking of Janette.
Janet.
Janet, sorry.
It's okay. I understand how it's spelled. Don't worry.
I spelled it right.
You put an R at the end.
Ooh.
I put an R?
Yes. Look at the chat.
It's like an old Twitter interface bot thing.
Janette. What was I gonna say? Oh yeah, we are live with UPG, Ultra Podcast Game. We are live with Ultra Sorry, I can't multitask. I have to I'm like a boomer sometimes.
Sometimes.
I'm like a boomer sometimes, and I'm one of those boomers just read out what he's typing. Not like every day of my life, but usually only when other people are around and it can embarrass me for some reason. Then again, I was watching this YouTuber recently, and he was talking about some random video game. I don't know if you've ever heard of it. It's called Alphabet. The dude who made Katamari Damacy apparently made this game as an indie game, and it's kind of like an endless runner, but you use the alphabet to move them, it's A through Z. They use the keys to move them. And he mentioned how hard it is for someone who doesn't touch type. And I'm like, okay, that's a boomer thing. Who cannot touch type? Who cannot touch type if you're on the internet?
The thing is I was talking about this with Buttcape's partner.
Sorry, who?
Stefano, okay. Also known as Buttcape.
A very prominent figure in the Lolita community.
Yeah.
Okay, I just was thrown off by the name.
Yeah, she stayed with me at A-Fest last weekend, and her partner and I were talking about how the teens are tech savvy, but only through a phone or a tablet.
Yes, that is true.
We were talking about how teenagers don't necessarily understand having a website, and that influencers don't have a website because all they do is do things through a social media app. And I've read stuff where kids going into programming don't understand how a computer deals with file structure.
Yeah, that totally wasn't me in college and grad school.
So yeah, the idea of, I don't know how to touch type it seems weird, but when you think about it, it's when, it gets to a point, it's when was the last time some of these kids actually used a computer not within a school structure?
Are you saying that this generation needs Mavis Beacon to come back?
Mavis Beacon gotta come back. Mavis Beacon teaches you to touch type on your iPad. But no, it's
is Mavis Beacon a person, or is that
Mavis Beacon? I think she was a person.
No,
I'll look it up. Keep going.
I just googled Mavis Beacon's typing at the current version. I'm like, oh, do they still make it? They do. But that's not Mavis Beacon. So I went to the image results in Google, and it's
Mavis Beacon is a fictional character, Manuel.
Okay, there you go. I'm like, these are different women.
They made up a whole typing lady?
Apparently.
They did. I just learned this second. Isn't that crazy?
I mean, so am I. So, maybe that's boomer of us.
Oh my god. But yeah, there is a new Mavis Beacon. She's quite young. That's what I'm like, there's no way this is the Mavis Beacon that taught me. I'm like, Mavis Beacon has to be in her 70s by now.
I mean, but what if she got some good money, got some good plastic surgery?
Oh god. Yeah, Mavis Beacon teaches typing deluxe. Anyway, I just know that there's quotes from her. I'm like, who is doing these quotes then? Just all made up.
It's like the reviewer that Sony made up.
Yeah.
Manuel is a Ouija. It's funny because I've had my rants about Ouija boards, and I actually was thinking about them a lot again recently, and only because I was talking to people about Mahjong, And it's funny because before we went live, I was going on about Mahjong a lot and with Janette. But before we were talking about Mahjong, I was talking to a friend of mine how the game isn't as old as you think it is. Not to say that like everyone like really thinks it's old, but like you would kind of assume a game like Mahjong would have a huge rich history if it's like, you know, played like all throughout all the it's played in America. Like fucking it's been co-opted here by like white moms, but it's like played all over Asia. There's like thousands of variants, and it's like the literal, I think it's like the national game of like, you know, China. But it's only about like 120 years old. And I was talking to a friend of mine, I'm like, the Ouija board's older. And they were like, of course it's older. And I'm like, no, I don't think you understand. Like the Ouija board is made up by a random game company. It's not an actual old device. It dates to around.
It was like a Hasbro spooky toy.
Yeah, and it's funny because I'm like, it was made by people who were just like, oh, look how funny this is. It's like made by people in the Deep South during the Civil War and whatever. And I'm like, it was just meant to be a party game. It was just meant to be like, oh, look, we can contact Uncle Joe and see if we should plant the crops in May or June. I don't know if that's even crop advice, but yeah. Don't listen to Uncle Joe. He'll kill us all. We won't have any food.
Oh no, it's Grandpa Joe. Never mind.
Grandpa Joe, from Troll 2.
No, from Charlie and the Chocolate Factory.
Oh.
It's for, I don't know. All these things is there a singularity going on the internet right now? Because these are all things I've been thinking about recently, including Charlie and the Chocolate Factory.
I mean, maybe we're all just on the same vibe now. Maybe it's finally happening.
Maybe we're just all sharing one brain cell right now.
Well, have you ever heard those theories about like how the internet? There's a thing about this. How if you're on the internet enough, like everyone kind of like. I'm talking about algorithms, but like there's certain trends in the internet that everyone follows without realizing it, because like certain things will just keep repeating itself. It's hard. It's a stupid concept to explain, and I'm not the one who's able to explain it. But people like to use this to like predict the future. But more accurately, it's a good way to predict trends. Anyway, Manuel's talking bullshit. It was Manuel's birthday yesterday.
Why is Manuel talking about himself in the third person? JD never does that.
Janette does it all the time. I'm not gonna lie, I kind of forgot we were doing the show, and I'm like, I thought we were still talking in the pre-show. So I'm like, wait, we need to get this back on track. I want to start talking about Ouija boards and other nonsense.
Anyway, Mahjong.
I mean, do we really have a topic for today, Manuel? It just says summer.
Okay, well, I wanted to talk about conventions. And fun fact, one of the things that's been coming up a lot of conventions is like Mahjong. That's a weird thing to say, but like I mentioned, it's been in my brain since I went to Off-Kai Expo, which I don't think I said live. But I went to Off-Kai Expo a few months ago, and they had a Mahjong table there. Like one of those fancy ones that deal for you that has a little dice in the middle that I guess you press. I don't know how you actually make that work. But like one of those
I've seen auto table, like how auto tables work. There's a really good video on it. And I think the dice, like when it comes up, it has a little thing that like bops it.
Yeah, it's like I can't remember what board game I had. I had a board game that had like I'm sure it's a really cheap version of that, where you just press the middle like almost like it's a big button, and it shook the dice for you inside of it.
I think that's Boggle.
Is it Boggle? It might be Boggle.
I think it's Boggle.
But yeah, well, I saw one of those tables there, and I was so obsessed with it. I'm like, we need to play Mahjong, but nobody I knew how to play Mahjong, not even Riichi Mahjong. Like at the time, I wasn't too sure, and now I'm like, why didn't I just do it? But at the time, I wasn't too sure that I could teach everyone Mahjong, like, you know, at once. It just felt too daunting of a task. And so we didn't play. And I've been thinking about it nonstop since. And then
So I was at A-Fest, not this last weekend, but like kind of the last weekend of July. And one of the VTube guests they had there, no joke, had a How to Play Riichi panel. And I thought about just going and pretending like I didn't know what I was doing so that I could play.
Oh, you were gonna hustle everyone, that's what you're kidding.
I was gonna hustle her, but it was like 10 a.m. and I was already knee deep in my own nightmare trying to get all my stuff situated for my panel.
Well, it's funny you mentioned that whole hustling thing because I mean the hustling thing, the VTuber thing, the hustling thing too. But one of the things that popped up recently, there's a certain friend of mine. I won't name them for obviously not doxing VTubers thing, but I won't name the VTuber anyway just for the fuck of it. But there's a VTuber friend of mine, not Nyaru by the way, in case you're wondering, like not Nyaru who's mysteriously not here, but she used to host a mahjong thing. Like every week she would play mahjong. And this was apparently a thing in her little like VTuber circle because of course there's a million of those, like these like these little cliques of like 30 or so VTubers that all are on each other's streams. But yeah, they were very and they were playing Mahjong Soul though, which is which
It's Riichi.
yeah, I had heard it from them, but I
Ow.
never actually really paid attention to their streams. And then you mentioned it, and I'm like, I'm gonna go check it out. And it's fucking Riichi. Everyone fucking plays Riichi Mahjong.
It's Riichi, and they just announced that one of the mascot characters is getting her own figures.
Oh my god.
So guess who's gonna have to buy figures of this weird, awful cat girl? No, she's fine.
Yeah, I just picked that up. I'd seen my friend play it, and now I'm using it to learn Mahjong.
Oh, wait, so you play Mahjong Soul too?
I started on like Friday.
Yeah,
Oh
it's just
my god.
as far as an app goes, the gotcha section of it has no bearings on your skill. It is purely cosmetic, and it's a pretty good way to learn Riichi.
I mean, I will admit, I did try Mahjong Soul, by the way, and it was fun for what it is. I just hate Riichi Mahjong.
That's fair.
But what I find wild is like I said this earlier, kind of as a joke, but are we part of like a weird simulation? Something pushing us because the fact that JD is talking Mahjong.
Manuel, you and I were talking Mahjong last week.
Yeah, but
and that's why I started playing.
Oh, so I'm the catalyst here.
Yes.
Yeah, Haru, you gotta start playing Mahjong.
Yeah, I mean, it's gotten to the point. So like I'm part of like a Riichi meetup every week, which is nice because not only are there quite a few people in like the DFW area that want to play Riichi. What's really nice is a lot of them are also not teenagers. Not that teenagers are bad. It's just nice to actually meet.
Check.
Teenager.
I don't think teenagers are inherently bad. It's just I am now
not a teenager.
13, 14 years old than the oldest teenager.
Oh,
there's a teenager away from me and a teenager. So it's nice that all the people I've met have been 25 or older. But also Mahjong Soul is so prevalent with Riichi players that like we make jokes about Panya and stuff, and I thought about having a shirt designed of Ichihime just looking real dumb and just having it say like head empty no yaku.
I think I just have to like give into it. By the way, for all of you who are like watching wherever you're watching and don't know what we're talking about, Riichi Mahjong is a specific form of Mahjong that's also, god damn it, my mic. I don't want to lean forward, but I guess I'll just lean forward.
I mean, I can give the rundown. Riichi is Japanese Mahjong because the Japanese saw Chinese Mahjong, went, this is too easy. What if we made it miserable?
Yeah.
And then they made it miserable.
The one of the biggest differences, if you never played, just a really simple way to describe one of the biggest differences is that in Chinese Mahjong, you in both versions you discard tiles to move the game along. It's like a version of Rummy. Is that what it's called?
Yeah,
the card game. It's kind of like if you ever played Rummy, think of that. You discard tiles along the way. In Riichi Mahjong, there's very specific rules when it comes to discarding the tiles. Like
I mean, it's less that there are specific rules about I guess there are specific rules about discarding tiles, but yeah, unlike Chinese Mahjong where it's kind of just I discard things to get 4 melds and a pair.
Yeah,
Riichi requires specific patterns for your hand to be a valid win.
Oh yeah, and I probably should mention that too.
Oh,
that's the other thing. It's like there are times when technically your hand could win you a game, and don't get me wrong, depending on the version of Chinese Mahjong you play, there are hands better than others. but like it kind of feels like, when you play a rhythm game, like a Hatsune Miku one's a perfect example. You passed the song, but you didn't beat the song because you didn't get a high enough score. It feels that way with some hands in Riichi Mahjong, because you could technically have a hand that would finish the game in Chinese Mahjong, but it's not a valid
Yeah,
hand.
it's not valid. And then, Riichi has, of course, Riichi, which is the concept of I'm going to put down some points and bet that the tile I need comes up.
Exactly.
And then there's Furitan, and scoring is
Oh,
suffering, and oh my
yeah.
god.
But like I said, speaking of rules specifically to fucking discarding a tile, there's rules about if you discard a tile and then you need that tile later on, which is the first 10 thing.
It sucks!
It's like I kind of get that it's kind of fun. It's like, but in other versions of the game, it's like, shit, I wish I kept that tile, whatever. But in fucking Riichi, it's like, you're gonna pay for that shit.
Yeah, it's like, oh, you thought you needed that tile? Well, guess what? Yeah, it's just my friends and I found out that there's a corporate league for Riichi in Japan called M League. And companies like Katakawa and Konami and whatnot have teams.
What?
And they do miserable early morning streams, but like we watch these matches now because they're so fun. Because the auto tables, something that I don't know if you know this about auto tables, they come with their own tiles because these tiles have magnetic cores.
Yep.
And that's how the auto table sets up the walls.
That's actually what I don't know if we were live when I mentioned this, but I got a mahjong set for my birthday recently, and the set I got is with, I guess you can call it a hybrid set because it doesn't come with a table, but apparently it's compatible with most tables, and I guess
Nice.
because of that, yes,
Yeah, the tiles are
and they're a certain size too.
Yeah, they're a certain size and they're magnetic because what the table does is you're supposed to have like two sets in the table, the one that you're playing with and then the one that's getting shuffled and getting ready to be popped up. And yeah, that's it's
Yeah,
just
so mahjong's a crazy thing. It's funny because you mentioned that like sort of league. Um, I've actually been obsessed with that a bit because there's tons of them in the US, by the way. And I'm not talking about just American Mahjong. By the way, don't play American Mahjong. And I'm
don't
pretty
play
sure you're not
American
the
Mahjong.
yeah, you're not the demographic anyway. It seems to be like a very Midwestern mom thing to do. Like if you're a bored housewife, you start a Mahjong group apparently. Which is funny because isn't that the plot to Joy Luck Club, but they're Chinese? But anyways, I probably just offended a million people who love. I take that back. Nobody. Anyway, um,
And
they're
don't get us canceled with like the handful of people that would probably play Mahjong with us.
I know. No, but I mean just the fact that like it's housewives playing it. But I actually like Joy Luck Club. Fun fact: I tried to look that movie up recently because my mom and I used to watch it a lot when we were younger. And I'm not gonna lie, that's actually when I first learned about mahjong. And my mom bought a mahjong set like in Chinatown because we kind of lived by Chinatown back then. And she bought a mahjong set in Chinatown that none of us ever learned to play. It was just like this thing, and I think it kind of cost a lot of money, like especially back then because we were poor. It was like, $60, $80, especially like $1990, whatever. So like it's really expensive, and we kind of just like, oh, it's a nice not antique, but it's a nice curio that we're gonna keep on a shelf kind of thing. But anyways, I thought about watching that movie recently, and I can't find it on any streaming service. So if anyone knows where the fuck is streaming it, so I don't have to pirate it, just shoot it down in the comments. Even did the thing where I just VPN'd myself to like every country I could using every service, and I could not find it. Anyway,
Also, you don't want to pay $4 for it.
yeah, it's funny because I think that's how much it costs to rent on Amazon, and I almost have enough credit. Like when you do the Prime thing, you don't like you're like, oh, give me the cheaper service, and we'll give you $1 in credit. I almost have enough to rent it. And I will pay $4 to rent it. Okay, I won't pay $4 to rent it, but I will give Amazon. I will use my Amazon credit once I have enough. I need $1.50 more. It's not worth $1.50. I'm an asshole. Anyway, we should all play mahjong here. That's a
Good.
that's a very
Speaking of American Mahjong and housewives playing Mahjong, I think it was last summer or something, this like group of rich white girls tried to start selling obnoxiously neon mahjong sets.
Oh, I saw that.
Oh wait, what?
Yeah, hold on.
Hold on, I gotta look this up. Neon.
They were
Mahjong.
impossible to read.
I mean, that sounds impossible. Okay, I'm blind. I'm old, and like, have you ever played the? Have you ever played? Okay, are you familiar with the fucking Clubhouse game? It's this game for the Switch. There's all the classic games on it, and it has Mahjong in there. It has Riichi, of course. But I was playing that just for practice. I cannot fucking see the tiles. Like,
Ooh, hold on. Let me link
the game
this.
does not let. Oh, I see it. What the fuck are these?
So these were after they've been redesigned, because these ones are slightly more legible. But they're like, oh, we're gonna do it with fun. They're like, oh, have you ever heard about Mahjong? What if we sold you these ugly Mahjong tiles that
Yeah.
were impossible to read?
No, I don't know. I don't know if Leslie's still here, but I saw Leslie share this link about them because not only are they making them impossible to read, but they're changing like the characters. Like, look at this. Wait,
Yeah,
let me put
like
the.
even Louis Vuitton doesn't change the characters on the Mahjong set.
Wait, Louis Vuitton makes a
Yeah,
mahjong set?
Dude,
of
Louis
course, Louis
Vuitton
Vuitton.
makes like
Louis Vuitton makes color pencils. The only reason I know that because I remember a YouTuber that I watched did a thing about like oh let me color this thing with Louis Vuitton color pencils. Louis Vuitton I think literally just makes everything. But yeah, like there's lines Palm Springs. How much are these? Oh, it's only, like
425.
so much money. I think the set I got recently was about $100 and something, which is
Yeah.
by the way, mahjong sets are kind of expensive. Just there
If
are cheaper sets you can get.
I think it very much depends on the kind of set you get. Like you can get Chinese mahjong sets, and if you really want to paint over some of the fives, and you could probably get a Chinese mahjong set for like $30. Because in my Riichi group, one guy bought a bunch of sets recently, and we've been trying them out and comparing them to my friend's Japanese Amos set. Like Amos is one of the big Japanese lines for mahjong, and they're little tiles, but they're high quality. They're nice. They feel dense. They clack good. But then this other guy bought this Chinese set for like $25, and the backing on it looked like glitter nail polish. It was incredible.
Oh,
The tiles were so massive and so light. We were just like, this feels weird, but I'm into them.
no, I've seen this. By the way, this fucking Louis Vuitton mahjong set is that? Am I reading this wrong? Is this thing $90,000?
I think it's in Singapore dollars, but it's still not
Oh,
cheap.
okay, okay, because I'm like, I know Louis Vuitton's expensive, but let me see what a Singapore dollar is. Singapore dollars to American dollars. But yeah, I'm like, there's no way it's actually that much. That's
It's
stupid.
still 65 grand.
Oh my god. Okay, that's still more than I thought it would be.
I
Yeah, you're.
mean, it's Louis Vuitton.
I mean, I was honestly thinking like
And
20 grand. It's not funny.
and
20
it's
grand's a top I pay for a mahjong set.
it's a beautiful set. Like this case is, I think, is possibly also because of the case.
Honestly, though, this case better work because one of the big problems with the mahjong set, like any set I've ever owned in my life, is that like they're really heavy, and like usually the handles on most cases will break.
Oh
Um,
man. So these Chinese sets that some of the people have in the Riichi group,
are they cheap?
not only are the cases cheap, the handle is one end. The clasp that keeps it closed is not the same end as where the handle is. And so every time, one of them brings one of these sets out, they gotta like hold the bottom of the case too, because God forbid that like one singular snap open and all your tiles are everywhere.
No, that's the worst part because like usually there's no like you just put them in the case. It's funny because I actually have I have like this bag. I think it's actually like a lunch bag that I put like the set I used to have before this. I'm probably gonna put the new set in one like it too. I just put it like in a lunch bag, and I just like how I carry the tiles around because I'm like, there's it breaks most cases, and even the case that the new set I got came with, I'm like this will break. And like the last thing I wanted, like you said, to be walking and it just opens and the tiles just go everywhere. They
Yeah.
probably won't break on the floor, but it's gonna make it be a loud mess.
Yeah, like the Amos set my friend has a halfway decent case, but I don't think it has a handle. One of the guys that we play with has the Final Fantasy 14 set because the Final
There's a
Fantasy
Final
4.
Fantasy
Yeah.
So
14
in Final
set.
Fantasy 14, they have Domin Mahjong, which is essentially just Riichi Mahjong.
Yeah.
There was a guy in Japan who because Final Fantasy XIV actually has one of the better online Mahjong clients, started the free trial long enough to where you could get to play Mahjong, and then that's all he does. He's like level 16 in game, but he is as high up in the Mahjong ranking as you could get.
Oh, this is
But yeah,
crazy.
it's just Riichi, so they actually, I think it comes in and out of stock, and it's not cheap, but they do sell a Riichi set that has the designs from in-game, and there's like cactuars and stuff on it. It's pretty funny.
Yeah, I was also like, I'm pretty sure I don't care about 14. I've never played 14, but I want it just for the fucking
You don't
Yeah, I
Final
mean it's
care
Fantasy.
about-
it's a really nice set. Like he pulled it out, and I'm like, oh man, you got the Doman set. He's like, oh, you know what this is.
Man,
And
you
yeah,
don't care
it's a
about
nice set.
critically acclaimed MMORPG Final Fantasy XIV with a free trial, including the Heaven's
Oh
Reach,
my god,
the Heaven's Ward expansion.
Heaven's Ward or what was the
Including the award-winning expansion Heaven's Ward, where all the dragons are. I mean, 14 is good. I'm not gonna lie, but also it's also very funny to make fun of 14.
By the way,
So
I
get
hate
it.
I hate to be this person, but after I've been scrolling up and down on accident in this fucking the gentrifier website for Mahjong with the $400 sets, I kind of want one. I don't get me wrong, I would never buy it, but
I mean, if someone gave me one, I don't know if I would be mad. But like the thing is that when they first launched this
that's what,
one,
yeah,
they were even worse as far as readability goes because the colors were just so garish.
yeah.
And two, they were going on and on about how like, oh, they were bringing this exotic game from overseas
Oh
and like,
god. It's like we've already
no,
said about American Mahjong. It's been brought like I think it was an exotic game in like the 20s, like the 1920s. It's funny because I say that I forget I have to clarify that in the 1920s it was probably an exotic game, but white middle class housewives have long since adopted the game. They added jokers to it, and it's
they
really
added
stupid.
jokers, and then also they turned it into a game where you're just like matching two, and I don't know what.
Yeah.
Someone told me that's technically called like Mahjong Solitaire, and I'm like, no, that's
Let's
Oh,
go fish.
so speaking of that, it's funny because like real fast to jump back to like we're talking about Mahjong Soul. One of the reasons I actually decided to play Mahjong Soul was because we have been talking internally at A to J, like even before we mentioned it with you, Janet, that I wanted to play Mahjong with people, like as a regular thing. It's a fun thing, it's a simple thing, and it requires technically few people.
So the good news is Mahjong Soul you can actually also play on a web browser.
Exactly, and I was seeing the
Oh, yeah.
Mahjong Soul thing, but like, first of all, I don't think you can play Chinese Mahjong at anything.
You cannot. I don't think so.
You can play it in Tabletop Simulator, and mind you, it's very cumbersome because it's Tabletop Simulator. You know what I mean? And like, it's one of the basic presets, so it technically works, sorta, but it's a tabletop simulator. I don't know if you ever play tabletop simulator. It's not exactly the most. It's not only is it not the most like visually appealing thing to look at. It's yeah, it's not as good as it doesn't work as well. And I looked this up. First of all, if you try to look up Mahjong game period, you'll come across 8 million versions of Mahjong Solitaire. And I actually like Mahjong Solitaire like as a game to play. Like I have a bunch of them on my Switch, but so I'm part of the problem. But it's hard to find one that's the game, and when you do find one, it's fucking Riichi.
Just accept your Riichi overlords, Manuel.
Apparently, they just own everything, and I mildly blame Mahjong Soul because even I'd heard about it before this. I guess it's just I blame Yakuza, which apparently, if you go to any video on how to play Mahjong, there's people who got there, and by Yakuza I mean the game series.
Yeah,
there's people who mention that. By the way, fun fact: if you ever want to learn how to play Mahjong, the easiest thing to do is just to find a group and learn to play with them, because even if one of the problems about people trying to learn on their own is that unless you're just learning like basic Riichi or basic American, everyone just adds their own shit. So like you'll watch a how-to video, you're like, why did it tell me this role? Why did it mention the role I saw in the other video, the other website I read? Oh, because they're playing a different version. It's like the epitome of house rules, the game, you know.
Oh,
Yeah.
come on, Manuel. I think D&D takes that.
Oh, I guess that is true, but yeah, there's so much
Like
bullshit
we
with
expected
mahjong.
out of we expected out of D&D.
But mahjong, and even within mahjong, like there's several academies that like publish rule books, so you could Google these and like find them online. And like, you know, I think the Mahjong Pacific, something like the Pacific Asian Mahjong Society, I think is the name of them. And they have a rule book that you could download. And I thought that they were like, oh yeah, they're the place you go to. But then there's people like don't read their rule books. Like all they care about is gambling. It's like, and they have a very weird like set of rules, and I'm like, uh,
I think the group that I play with in person tries to, for the most part, follow the WRC Riichi rules because
WR, the World Riichi. What is WRC?
um
Hold on. Mm,
yeah, the World
WRC.
Riichi Championship.
Oh, okay, it's funny because I'm
Like,
like, okay. Oh, they
like
have a
we don't
website.
yeah, we don't use all of their rules, but it's a good, pretty standard set
By the way, I like
because
when you go to
they
the
have
website. Well, when you go to the website, there's two tables like visible on the website, and the first table has like Asian people at it. I'm not sure if the other people are white, but in the background, the tables they have white people, like white, very nerdy looking people. I can say this as a nerdy looking person, but it's a very funny makeup of people. Anyways, keep going.
but yeah, they have a pretty good standardized rule set. And I mean, when we're playing casually, not for money, we're like, we don't necessarily need to follow this rule or that rule. We joke a lot about chombo, which is when you mess up, and we joke that, oh, we're gonna have to start taking fingers
Oh my god!
because that's
So,
what
so,
they do in Yakuza.
so you go for the Yakuza thing too. Why is this rulebook 58 pages? I'm gonna download this.
Because it probably
I think,
covers. Sorry, go ahead. You probably know better.
it's just there are a lot of rules, and a lot of them are also like etiquette rules, and they have rules about how you're supposed to call things and when.
Oh,
And I
that's the.
imagine it's very centered around if you want to play in their tournaments, these are the rules you
Mm.
need to know. Which I get, but if you are just also looking for a halfway decent, here's some good rules for Riichi, it's probably one of the better standardized ones.
It's funny because the one thing on the rules that I can see already that says is that apparently one of the things about WRC rules, I guess they officially use the Japanese terminology.
Mhm.
I feel like I can't play one or the other because it mentions here like, you know, Chow Pong, whatever. It's like it's Chi and Pawn, and it's like I would like to think if we were playing amongst ourselves, you guys just accept that Manuel says stupid things and Manuel's a China boo.
Yeah.
But like, but
Yeah,
I don't know.
I,
It's
I,
like
f- I feel if you are playing in a casual format with friends, then, so long as everyone understands the gist of what's going on, this is a good reference.
and speaking of like Riichi, like you get to call like Riichi, which is almost like calling like a check or checkmate almost.
Yeah, it's Riichi is if you have
And
not opened your hand by calling anything else, you can make a bet, and then you get in. Then, if you actually succeed, you also get to look at the Uradora, and it's a whole thing.
so yeah,
Like, but yeah, Mahjong is actually pretty fun. There's lots of resources to play Riichi, and if you own the Yakuza games, you can play it there. If you play Final Fantasy 14, it's there. Mahjong Soul is free, and like I mentioned before, the gacha is purely cosmetic.
yep.
Um, and yeah, one of the better ways is just playing with people. This group that I play with, we meet once a week. It's pretty fun to play with people, and it's just nice to hang out and play something for a couple hours. And during the week, if enough of us have free time, we might play like a lunchtime match on Mahjong Soul or something. And it's fun. But
I'm
also,
probably
Riichi is the most miserable Mahjong.
it really is, and I find it weird that it's the most success. I blame anime and video games that apparently have all adopted it. Um,
It's just I know that like there's a big Riichi Korean scene, and I imagine there's probably a large amount of Chinese players that play Riichi just to compete.
yeah, I was gonna say like I think a lot of people like, you know, even friends of mine I know who play it who would like, oh, you prefer the Chinese one, but they'll still play Riichi because it's like the one that everyone's playing. Isn't that weird?
I think it's just that's the one with the formal tournaments.
That's
And
what I
that's
say. Yeah.
that's the one that you can find the most ways to play.
Well, I think if China itself wasn't such a man, I was going to say something controversial. If China itself wasn't such a a locked off kind of
I'm
what you're to say.
I'm surprised that like Genshin Impact doesn't have like a Chinese mahjong minigame or something.
Exactly. See, that's what needs to happen. Because when that happens, I'm sure that somebody will adopt people will finally start playing. See, I almost said regular mahjong. I don't know if it's an offensive thing to say, but like they can play Chinese mahjong. To be fair, I don't even know if you can even say there's a regular version because it's like, what is original mahjong? I don't know. I don't know.
We've talked about mahjong for like 45 minutes, so
I know.
Keep going.
I didn't even mean to. I was like, oh, we're talking. Oh,
Yeah.
I didn't even. Okay, well, I'll try to move the subject back. I didn't even. The whole reason I brought this up was because the conventions are making me think about it, and I scoured my room because I used to have this mahjong set. Mind you, it's American, but I just took out the fucking jokers. I had this American mahjong set that was like a board game type version where the tiles were like thin. They were like I can't even like a quarter-inch thick, like tiles, like literal tiles. They were like tile thickness, and I was looking for that. Honestly, we should just use cards at that point because like I feel like these are gonna break because they're too thin. But I was looking for that set because I'm like, I think I can actually take this with me to conventions easier because most conventions aren't near me, so I have to take like a bus to them or some shit like that. And taking an actual mahjong set is just too heavy.
I know that I think it's either Green Mountain or Yellow Mountain Imports has a
Oh.
travel Chinese set, and the tiles are like about as tall as a quarter.
It's funny you mentioned Yellow Mountain Imports. I love Yellow Mountain Imports, not even for their products. I fucking love that they have. But the products are great. I have a few Yellow Mountain Import things. Like I have a metal dice set from them, but I love that their fucking logo is Sun Wukong.
Is that really why you're actually into
Yes,
them?
I'm not
Yes.
even making it up. They can fucking sell the worst products known to man, and I will love them just because Sun Wukong's their logo. And it's funny because the mahjong set, and mind you, I didn't buy it, so I didn't know that was happening. But like they are very prevalent. It's funny you mentioned that because apparently they sponsored some championship in the DFW area recently, and I was curious. Yeah, I was curious if I'm like, oh, I wonder if Janette knows about this. I saw it on. I was googling them after the fact, and like not googling them. I was looking at the social media, and they're like, "Oh, thank you, Yellow Mountain Imports for sponsoring the DFW like Mahjong League 2022 championship or whatever the fuck."
I wonder if
But,
that was before I like joined the group, maybe.
Yeah, so I guess that they were playing with their sets, but the set that they got for me was a Yellow Mountain Import set, and it came with a really big sticker. I'm just like, oh my god, I'm gonna cut out the Yellow Mountain Import part and just put Sun Wukong somewhere. It's still their logo, but I'm like, now I just have a big Sun Wukong sticker as far as I'm concerned.
Well, it's better than any of your other stickers, Manuel.
I know all my other stickers just like big titty anime girls everywhere.
Most of my stickers are like Kirby.
Kirby. But yeah, I've been thinking about getting. Well, I need some sort of travel set. Maybe I'll get cards. Maybe I'll look up that mini set that Yellow Mountain Import has. Maybe they'll give me another sticker. But that's been a big thing because I want to play mahjong at conventions, and I think that was honestly I don't go to a lot of gaming sections, but I feel like I've never seen a mahjong table at a gaming convention.
Because mahjong like in person requires.
Go ahead.
Oh yeah, mahjong in person requires like a very specific square.
Yeah, I'm pretty.
Hey, Manuel, where'd you go? Oh, there you go.
Oh no, sorry. I had to like, I was sitting weird and I had to fix my pants. I just didn't want to do that on camera.
Okay.
Anyway, not like that. That's not weird. I just fix my pants. So I just had to like literally like, just like hitch up them from under the knee. But anyway, I just didn't want to stand up in the camera. But the fuck was I saying? Oh, I think specifically they brought it to Offcut Expo because mahjong is kind of prevalent in VTubers for some reason. I don't know why.
I think it's because mahjong's so free.
Yeah, exactly. I think Mahjong Soul has, and it has like vaguely VTuber like aesthetics.
Like Mahjong
And-
Soul, free, 4 of you can play.
It's funny because we've been talking about Mahjong for like the past 45 minutes, and part of me thought that maybe like if we kept going, Pleiades would show up, but he still hasn't. So like, where the fuck is Pleiades? Whatever.
Hey,
Whatever.
Manuel, you know how you
Yes.
said you don't see Mahjong at conventions a lot? You know which convention
Yeah.
does have Mahjong?
Which one? The Mahjong convention?
No, Toricon.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
For those who don't know, Toricon is the convention that in Rochester, New York. That, well, you would know more about it. I just
Yeah,
that was
it's the Rochester Institute of Technology Anime Club's
go.
annual anime convention, and they generally have like gaming, including mahjong, because the owner
I
of the
imagine your
local
college has. Yeah, I was like, I
anime
imagine you have a
store
local league.
like loves to play mahjong,
Oh.
and he does a panel on it, and he runs like games of it like all day long.
That is
That's
Riichi.
fun. I
That
mean,
is
it's
Riichi.
probably Riichi.
Yeah, it is
The anime
Riichi.
club runs. I was like, if the anime club runs it, it's Riichi.
He might know how to play other games, but yeah, Riichi's just the one he runs all day.
The funny thing is, like I mentioned it earlier. I find it. I found that it's very hard to like unteach people Riichi, but Chinese mahjong's a lot simpler. It's
Manual,
a lot simpler.
yeah, it's just that thing where it's just so dominant, I guess, that it's kind of hard. It's like trying to find a group to play something other than D&D.
Yeah. It's just,
Oh,
it's the
like-
dominant one, and the rules, like the things you have to know, have to be at the forefront of your brain, or you cannot play. Like, if you don't even know what your basic Yaku are, you're gonna have a bad time. If you don't know when you can steal a tile, you're gonna have a bad time. If you make a wrong call, you're gonna chumbo. We're gonna cut off a fingy.
We're gonna cut off a finger. Let's go. We're going full Yakuza rules here. Like whoever has no finger, whoever still has fingers by the time we're done wins.
Well, so interesting thing about the chombo. So when a chombo basically occurs when you do something that fundamentally breaks the current game. Like you miscall on a win, you knock over a chunk of the wall, things like that. Normally, you give up 8,000 points as a chombo penalty. Those WRC rules changed it to 30,000. And I
Wait, how do you at 30,000?
Yeah, and I think you only start with 30,000, so you
Yeah, I was gonna
chombo,
say,
you're
like-
out.
I was gonna say, like, I feel like that's either instant out or if like you are like you had a bad run the first, like you're in your second one or something like that. It's like, do you go into the negative? Do they like? Is that when you lose the finger?
I know M League goes into the negative because man, I'll be watching M League games and I'm just like, that man is already dead.
No, it's like when you're watching Jeopardy. Is Jeopardy? Yes, we're watching Jeopardy. Somebody's in the negative, and you're like, do they have to pay? You know? For the record, I actually used to think that they did have to pay, but apparently they don't. Just as I mean, I don't know about Mahjong. That's another story. I'm sure that's when you lose a finger. But like I'm talking about Jeopardy. Yeah, you don't have to pay.
It'd be insane to get on Jeopardy and then find out that if you go negative, you owe Alex Trebek money.
I mean, don't fucking answer. Don't fucking call if you don't know the answer. Oh man, this is stupid. Yeah, I don't know. I need to. I should probably just buckle down and just like maybe bring one less bottle of alcohol. Just put in the mahjong set. Because I'm willing to like overload my bag with alcohol, because liquid and whatever like weighs a ton. But like, don't want to bring the 10-pound mahjong set. That's too much luggage.
Yeah, I think, Manuel, you're that meme where it's like someone just like trying to fit in everything and they like throw out sleep in their schedule or something.
Yeah.
Except your thing is more alcohol.
I guess, and it's funny because there's some conventions that I'm like, I could just buy the alcohol when I get there, even if, and it's like, it's not even the fact that like, oh, but you're spending the money, but typically I don't have that alcohol at home. I bought it just before the convention anyway.
Yeah, so I might
just
as well buy it closer there.
yeah, I could just save that step for when I'm there.
Oh
'Cause
man, so
yeah.
speaking of
ahead.
alcohol and conventions,
Oh,
so when we went to
A-Fest.
A-Fest, Buttcape and I and some of her friends and some of her friends' friends went to a tiki bar one night because a couple of them just love tiki bars, and a lot of the group were still in various stages of costume because why not?
Of
And
course.
we walk into this tiki bar, and like a guy turns around because it's hopping on a Saturday night, and he's like, "Oh man, is there a convention in town? Where at?" We're like, "Oh, A-Fest. It's at the Sheraton a couple miles away." He's like, "Oh man, there's a convention in Texas when Anime Matsuri is happening?"
Oh God,
And
no.
no joke, this whole group like braces and stiffens, and he looks at us like, "Fuck Anime Matsuri." Shit ass con run by pedos and shitters. Those bastards, the lays, fuck them. And I was like, oh, this is fine, actually. Yes,
Oh, you're the good people. There you go. That's
Yeah.
good. Yeah,
but
that
it was great. But yeah, the
um,
tiki bar was actually really chill, and honestly, like every time I think about adult cons, it's like, yeah, you've got your hentai cons and your ecchi cons and whatnot, but like I would just like a 21 and up con where we're just all chilling. No one's
well,
necessarily gotta be horny. We could just play mahjong, drink tiki drinks.
I later found out that probably wasn't part of the rules, and I probably was breaking them by doing it. But if you remember when we went to Otakon Vegas that year, I met you. I brought alcohol to our panel, our 18 plus panel that me and Eunice did, and there was another friend of ours who was there with us. Me, Eunice, and a friend of ours did the 18 plus panel, and I brought alcohol to the panel, lined up bottles on the table, and was drinking during the panel openly. And
I don't
I
think they
kind of,
cared.
yeah, I kind of find out that I don't think that was actually allowed,
Probably
but
not.
nobody stopped us, and it wasn't like there was no staffer there. Like at one point, and it's funny because I didn't notice at the time. I just thought he was a random staffer. It was the dude who runs the dude who owns like Otakon or whatever. He walked in to let us know that like even though our panel was supposed to be over, that we can keep going until like the people come to kick us out the room, like the the hotel staff basically.
Yeah, like what I heard from various people that were, like volunteers and staff was Otakon was basically using Otakon Vegas as kind of like a weird
Yeah,
write-off to party in Vegas.
exactly.
So yeah,
The party in
I
Vegas.
assume as long as no one got in legal trouble, to a degree, they probably didn't care. Which I mean worked out for the rest of us.
Like, mind you, this is all stuff I heard. I don't know if it's verified, but I heard this from a staffer friend of mine and they were on the board. I think the whole thing was like the board could write it off as like, oh, we're having a board meeting that happens to have a convention attached to it. So yeah, they were able to write it all off as this crazy, crazy vacation. Like
That's big brain moves right there,
yeah,
man. Because
and
like
yeah,
a couple of my friends were like doing AV work with them because they do AV work professionally, and they were just like, the food in their break room is so nice because they're just having the Planet Hollywood cater.
no, and then that was the thing. So, um, I I wasn't staff, but like we were like the first year I went was not the year I met you, but I did go the year before that year, and like I wasn't even like press or anything. Like, I was just there during a panel, and I just went to go see my staffer friends. So I walked into the areas you're not supposed to go, and there was food there, and like there was one militant staffer who was all like, "Oh, he can't come in," because I was trying to say hi to my friend, and my friend's like, "Oh, I'll come out to talk to you." As soon as that person left, she's like, "Okay, you can come in now," and nobody else cared that I just walked in and started eating the like the really good Planet Hollywood catered food or whatever.
Right?
It
Like
was
it's
good.
just even the maid cafe that they had there. Like I went for like one of their, breakfast with the maids things because I was like, sure, why not? I'm awake. Like even that had like the really nice pastries from the Planet Hollywood and stuff. Like you got
Sad.
like the good muffins and the good croissants and like good coffee.
Yeah,
Man,
that
like
kind of doesn't happen anymore.
I'm so sad that con was just a silly sham front nightmare, but
Yeah,
I miss it.
I think I told you like I don't know when the last time you went was. The last time I went was 2016, 17. I don't forget. But it
I
was the
think
year I
we
met
went
you.
to the last one. Yeah.
Yeah. But no, it did skip a year, I think, but it came back like 18 and 19. And I was like, did you know about this? I didn't. Honestly, I feel like they didn't even publicize it just so they can get away with like less work, but still like their tax write off. You know what I mean?
Yeah. I mean, that con was great for what it was, which was, hey, do you want to wear a costume and hang out in Vegas?
Exactly. But the reason I brought that up is because like that feels like it's the closest to what you describe as a 21 plus con.
Right? Like,
And it
even though
wasn't
it
21
wasn't,
plus.
yeah, it's just the vibe was so chill and no one was causing problems, so no one was having a bad time.
Well, the funny thing about Vegas conventions, period, and I mentioned this before, is that Vegas conventions. I mean, you wouldn't think this. I mean, you've lived in Vegas, so I'm sure you have a better viewpoint on this. But like, I've always thought of Vegas as a very metropolitan, Los Angeles-y type area. But when you go to a convention in Vegas, it's very small town.
Yeah. I think
Like,
I think a lot of it is that because there are so many really weird rules about like how you have to do things to hold it at like a Vegas casino versus just like one of the hotels off the strip, it makes things really weird. You
it's
know,
another
because
thing. Like where that con was, they had a convention center, but it was like in the casino, past the casino, like behind on the second floor. Remember?
yeah, I mean, because most of the casinos also have convention space. And then
Yeah.
there are, of course, the casinos that have dedicated convention centers like the Venetian and the MGM and Caesars. And then there's the Las Vegas Convention Center, of course, which I think that's where Level Up is now. And Level Up is probably the closest thing Vegas has gotten to like a big deal convention that wasn't like job related.
I think it was the Venetian. I've been to the Venetian for an adult convention one time. I want to say it's the Venetian. It was somewhere in that because that whole area confuses me, like where the Paris is. Like it was somewhere around there. I don't think it was MGM because MGM. Oh, it actually could have been MGM. MGM's the big black one, right?
No,
Is MGM not the big black one?
the MGM's
Hotel?
green.
Oh, what am I thinking? Well, I'm also
Are
mildly.
you thinking of like the pyramid?
Oh, that's Lux. I mean, I
Okay,
would
so you
notice
won't
the
go
Lux.
down the Luxor.
Well, it's somewhere over there. I went to one of those convention centers for an adult con, and that was a much different thing than going to Planet Hollywood. Because Planet Hollywood, I feel like the convention center is really hidden.
I mean,
It's
that
like,
was probably for the best, especially if they were like, Otacon Vegas for being in a casino on the strip was an all ages convention. So it's
yeah,
probably for the best that the convention space for it was kind of tucked away a little. But I mean,
Jane.
it was still really easy, to get from your hotel room to the con floor,
Oh,
and
because it was
then
right there. Yeah.
it was right there. And then, if you wanted to get something to eat for what it's worth, you could not beat just wandering down into like the Miracle Mile shops.
Well,
There was so much food everywhere for not miserable prices.
also the the 2 years I went to Otakon Vegas, they had the deal where like if you bought it like on day zero, my mic stand is just not working right. I'm like literally holding it. They had a deal where if you went a certain day, you got that wristband, like the buffet of buffets or whatever.
Oh yeah, you could get the buffet of buffets wristband for like real cheap.
Yeah, like it's a cheap enough wristband, period. But it's like you got it for like half off of that, so it was like a really cheap price, and you got like, oh yeah, I can go to eat all the buffets.
Yeah, you could go
And
to like 7 buffets over the course of 3 days. It's like
yeah,
that is insane value. Like
oh, that was great.
like I think about how Evo has kind of permanently moved to the Mandalay Bay, which is great because I remember when Evo was held literally like at a kind of shady hotel off strip before.
I
But,
mean,
even like wandering around Evo to get back from the convention center to where food was. No joke, in the convention center there was a Subway that I know that the last year I covered it, Taquito had like a $12 Subway sandwich.
whoa.
Because it was just an expensive Subway, and I'm like, look, you go like another couple hundred yards back into the main casino, you can have like a decent meal for 15.
I hate Subway. I used to work at Subway. I don't know if I mentioned that
You've mentioned
before.
this many, many times, man. Don't worry, but keep going.
No, but I hate Subway because like, but then again, I think this is any job. This is any business. But like Subway's so different. Like I feel like Subway's, and like mind you, when I worked at Subway, it was a long time ago. It was like I worked at Subway right after the whole like
Sandwiches invented, we
obviously
know.
no one knew about what he had done yet, but like it was right after the whole Jared things when he was a spokesperson. So like they were big. And I'll never forget when I was working at Subway, like the whole atmosphere amongst my other friends. Mind you, I was like right out of high school, so I was like 17. The whole atmosphere of my other friends was like, "Oh, you're not actually working at a fast food place. You're working at Subway." And it's funny to ever think that Subway had that kind of reputation. Like, it was the better fast food place. It was like the Chipotle of its time, if that makes it, if you get the
Yeah,
comparison.
before Chipotle became the Chipotle of its time.
Yeah. It was like that kind of thing where you felt it was like the fast casual before fast casual was a thing. But like it was even at the ones I worked at the first time, which are like run the best I've ever been at any, because I worked at several like over my year at Subway, my very broken up year, which goes to show how what turnaround they had because I worked at several. There was crazy turnaround. There was no consistency, and I saw some shit that like just like made me not want to eat at fast food places for a while. Oh man. But yeah, Subway's trying to make the new menu right now, and I'm like, guys, just pack it in.
Pack it
Pack
in.
it in.
It's over. It's fine.
Everyone's
like-
eating at Panera Bread. They're the new Chipotle. They're the new fast food place that everyone thinks is like not really fast food.
Yeah, like you serve one actual vegetable and people are like, oh well, this clearly isn't fast food.
Oh man, it's funny because like this is a random thought, but I was thinking about this the other day because like I went to a Subway a couple weeks ago because I had a gift card for there and I was trying to finally use the last of it. And it was the most like weirdest Subway I'd ever been to. Like they had all their sandwich meats still in the plastic bags they come in. They send them to you in, like where customers can see. And I remember when I was working at Subway, we used to like kind of not really lie to customers, but like they made us pretend that we were like slicing the meat back there. Like we'd have to go back there. We'd have to open it up back there, put it on the thing, and like on a piece of paper, and then bring it out on the paper as if, and also like kind of like do this so it looks like it's not just like slapped on there. Like we just opened up a bag. So yeah, we had to like basically pretend that we'd sliced it. Basically, I'm like, yeah, like I don't know. Maybe people believe that. I don't know. Maybe it's part of it.
Manuel, I know you steal like Warren's Netflix or whatever, but do you steal anyone's HBO Max?
Oh, is that what Joey Lux Club's on?
No.
Oh
No, I was going to talk about last week tonight because they did a segment on Subway, like a whole 20-minute segment on it.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
I think you can actually find that legally on YouTube.
Yeah, they do post them on YouTube.
They usually
I'll
put
look
like
it
the
up.
big main segment on YouTube.
Is it about how shady their fucking practices are when it comes to?
Yeah.
Yes.
It's also a lot about how they screw over franchisees.
Thank you. It's funny because I've mentioned this in the past before too. I don't think I've ever mentioned this publicly because it's kind of embarrassing for me. But like the last Subway I worked at, I loved it. It was a fucking terrible job. It was the worst Subway I ever worked at. It was a Subway that had all the horror stories. The one where we had like this hole that roaches would come out at night. So it was our job every night to pour hot water down it until they eventually filled it. And then like that was the one where like one of the other employees, like when I got there, I had to tell him, no, you don't strain tuna through a dirty towel that we clean everything with. I had to be the one to tell them that that's not how you prepare the tuna at Subway. But shit like that. But I loved it because the owner was this really young guy, like not that much older than me. He was like in his like at the time was in like his early to mid, like wasn't even 25 yet. And was super stressed out because he spent all of his savings on the Subway franchise that was just like ended up bankrupting him. Like ended up leaving the job because I didn't help anything. Like I broke his computer. Not even making this up.
Manuel, walking tech bane.
Yeah, I broke it. I broke the computer for the store, and I won't go into that because it's also a long story. And I will say that I broke it. I'll admit I broke it, and it was because I did some stupid shit. So I broke the computer, and I felt so bad because he really helped me. Like we were actually friends because like once again we weren't that far apart in age, and I felt really bad about that. But I knew him, and I was like, oh shit, man, Subway's ruining your life, and it did. Like about a year after, about 2 years after, I was working at Party City. I was eventually I got the Party City job. A little over 2 years later, and I went to the Subway that was across from Party City, and I saw the fucking Subway compliance guy, because there's a guy. I think every franchise has this. The person who comes around to see if you're in compliance. the subway inspector or whatever was there at their subway, and I'm like, "Oh, do you have? Hey, it's you!" And he's like, "Oh, it's you." He recognized me too, and I'm like, "Do you remember so and so? How are they now?" It's like, "Oh, he sold his subway like last year. Like, yeah, it closed down. Like, he declared bankruptcy." And I'm like, I don't know why the dude told me all this, but yeah, dude, it eventually destroyed him. Subway took all of his money.
Yeah.
Bankrupt.
Yeah.
Yep. And he ended up, and it was funny because like when he had the one Subway, like he was doing bad, and Subway convinced him to buy 2 more. Like that would fix the problem. Like, to like, and I
Like,
get the
I shouldn't laugh at that because it's terrible, but also
Yeah.
it's very funny.
Yeah. I get the reasoning about why they think that why he would agree with it and what they were saying, how it would fix the problem. Like if you have others, eventually they'll all help each other because that's the way, like I guess, like any business works.
Synergy.
Yeah. But no, all it did was, and I remember specifically, like when right before the whole thing happened, when I left, he's all like, "Oh, headache 1, headache 2, headache 3," because none of them were making money, and it was just like, if anything, it would just bring him down faster. I wonder if the others are like, apparently the one I worked at, like I said, that was what they told me that closed down, but I don't think the other ones did because the other 2 were actually one of the college location that was like overpriced and it was still not making its money just because of the franchise fees and all that shit. Anyway, that's my Subway rant. I forgot why we mentioned Subway. Fuck Subway.
Because Taquito having his Evo win in 2017 meal at the Subway at the Mandalay Bay and it being super pricey.
I don't know.
Speaking of Evo, did anyone else catch the Street Fighter finals on Sunday night?
No, what
No,
happened? Were they good?
So, a U.S. competitor has not won Street Fighter at Evo since like 2008. And in the losers bracket, Idom from Queens, New York, fought his way up through losers bracket, took down Daigo, took down Tokido, took down Gachikun, made it all the way to grand finals, reset grand finals, and lost in the very last match of the entire thing. It was incredible to see.
Rip.
Oh yeah, he reset the bracket, but like it was the first time in a very long time that I think everyone watching went, the US might actually bring this home.
Hey,
Like,
who
it's a weird. The winner was Kawano from Japan. And to be
Oh,
fair,
okay. I actually know who that is. It's funny because I was going to say, I don't know why I asked. I'm pretty sure I wouldn't know who they were, but I actually know who that is. Okay.
yeah, Kawano just I wouldn't even say it's that he got lucky, it's that I think he had enough time to realize what he needed to do to get out of a couple things quicker than Idom could have executed them, but it was just incredible to watch regardless. I'm glad that Evo is, getting as big as it is. I'm glad that what I'm really glad about is, now like Sony bought Evo. Sony owns
Oh,
Evo.
God. He owns everything. I didn't know that.
Yeah.
That's news to me. God
They
damn
bought,
it.
it, they bought it a while back, but like the real joy is that Evo is free from Smash.
Oh, really?
They're of the main 9, not a Smash game among them.
Oh, I thought they were rocking Melee for like the 50th year.
Dude, like I one of the last things I remember from the last one I covered was when I ran into Mr. Wizard before Mr. Wizard became, not a dude we should talk about.
Oh, okay, yeah. I could have sworn I saw a video on him, but not a good one. But anyways.
But I remember I ran into him and he looked like so frantic. Because I wanted to get like a line or two about Evo, and like all he could tell me, he's like, "I'd love to chat, but I can't. I have Disney on the phone because Smash is running late."
What the fuck?
And I'm just like, why? I understand that Melee, especially, like the reason they kept Melee on so long is because Melee would bring in so much money. A lot of people wanted to play Melee, but it was just so miserable because they had to have the CRTs. The people that played Melee were, on the whole, worse than the people that played like the Wii U or Switch versions.
I've always got the vibe, and only because I know about this because of videos. I know nothing about the fucking fighting game scene, the FGC, if you will. But but a lot of I remember like watching a lot of YouTube videos about 2 years ago. There was this whole thing that kind of like I'll put it like this because I don't want to say the exact words. That there seemed to be a period when like finding out somebody was like was like doing something crazy, and then you heard that they were a Minecraft. I already ruined my punchline. You found out that they were a Smash Brothers player. It became a thing. Like, oh, it was like hearing that like a fucking Minecraft YouTuber was in a kerfuffle, and you knew exactly what the kerfuffle was without even having to look more into it.
Yeah, that's the thing though, because like the way there was always, people talk about how the stuff with Vic Mikiano, came out of nowhere. It's like, no, there was always rumblings of it if you paid attention. And
Yeah,
it was similar for Smash. There was always rumblings of it.
and then
Like,
also I gathered that they were always community in and of themselves. They were never names I knew because they were never the people playing the other games. It was always like this own little
oh yeah, because like
community outside of everything else.
because if you play like Street Fighter, there's a very good chance that you might play Marvel. You might play another fighting game or two. If you play Smash, you almost exclusively play Smash.
It's funny because in my new room setup, I have my TV behind me and I have my two GameCubes. In case you've ever, I have two GameCubes, and both of my GameCube. Oh, you're not gonna be able to see it. I think it's not gonna show you. Not only do they both have Game Boy players. Oh, it's not gonna show you. But they both have the. There it goes. They both have the. The other one has it too. They both have the setup so you could link them together and play those stupid games of Mario Kart. Have like the LAN cable, the LAN connectors or whatever. And I think you could do that for Smash too if you don't want to lower your latency and you want two TVs to play it on. I think that's what you do. So yeah. So I technically, I mean, I'm not involved in those kerfuffles, but I technically do love me some Melee sometimes. And I have a Wii that's hacked with the fucking what's that version of
Project M.
Yes, the one that fixes the Wii version of Smash. Anyways, we'll wrap this up soon. Subway sucks. Don't eat at Subway. That's my big takeaway to Subway.
My big takeaway is if you can find an in good shape CRT, sell it to your local Smash group.
Yeah,
but then also don't interact otherwise.
Don't interact. Yeah, don't interact because it's like, yeah. But it's funny because like there was a time, and it's fun. I guess this is for anything that goes collectible at some point. There was a time when like I would see CRTs thrown out, and I don't know if they were always working, but I'm pretty sure a couple of them looked fine. That I would find like in alleys and shit, or just outside of houses. Some that would just say free, and you would go to Goodwill and they'd have like a CRT and it'd be like $10-$20. And now I think I'm trying to buy a CRT. They're pretty pricey to get a working one, and it's crazy when you think about it.
So a couple months ago, one of our neighbors had put an old Sony Trinitron CRT out on the curb. I'm like, I made Jesse go get it.
Oh, you did? I was gonna say, like, I would have got it because if it happened now, I'd get it. It's funny because I had it wasn't a good brand. Might even have been a Zenith, which I'm like, it can't have been a Zenith. It's not that old. But I had this really the CRT that I had. It was a pretty nice big one, not even that heavy or bulky. And like I threw it away, but like I threw it in a way because I'm like this. I smashed it in before I threw it away. And this wasn't that long ago. This was like 8 years ago. Also, it was fun. Like, how often are you gonna smash in a TV? You know. Because if you smash it on a modern TV or a monitor, it doesn't break.
It's not the same.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, I guess you could fold them in half, which is kind of fun, but it's not the same. The visceral feeling is not.
Exactly. When I was a young hooligan kid, I remember somebody called the cops on us because we were in an alley that had all these. They were already broken, and we're like, "Yeah, TVs!" And we just start kicking them in, and like smashing them the fuck up. And then like, someone's like, "Hey, get out of here!" Like, "Fuck you!" We just kept doing it. The cops showed up. We had to take off. Manuel's a hooligan, confirmed. Mind you, I was like 13. It's like, so yeah.
I mean, but also Manuel's a boomer, confirmed. Like being able to just go destroy CRTs like this, like it's nothing.
Yeah,
imagine that.
Imagine.
It was funny because I had to get rid of it. Actually, I didn't get rid of it. I took it to a storage and it just disappeared somewhere in a move. But I mentioned this story once that like I saw a really cool organ. Like, and I went home and I called up all my friends and I made them go with me. I didn't tell them what we were doing. I'm like, come meet me over here behind this store. They meet me there. It's like, okay, what are we doing? It's like, okay, guys, you're gonna help me carry this organ home. Like it was like the size of a standing piano, but it was really heavy. And it worked. It's funny because we couldn't tell if it worked till I got it home. But anyways, that's my stories like that. I tried to. Somebody threw out a Joust arcade cabinet, and I tried to get my friends to go get it with me. And I don't know if it ever worked, but when we went back to go get it, somebody like probably other me and down the street had broken it already. Like
Karma.
definitely broke it. Like, yeah. They smashed it in. To be fair, I don't remember timeline wise if this is before or after the TV thing, so maybe that was the karma. I don't know, but yeah. Anyways, everyone go play mahjong. Let's all go. Someone, fucking MiHoYo, go put in Chinese mahjong into Genshin Impact,
Right.
and then get that train going so we can we can all learn the we can all learn the good way to play mahjong. Um. To be fair, I think technically the version I play, because like the rule specifically is like the Hong Kong version anyway. So there, everyone likes Hong Kong. Go. Let's all play the good version. um. Anyway, I'm offending a lot of people. Like China just banned the podcast forever.
Oh no, I'm pretty sure they banned all our stuff after Pleiades did that one presentation.
Wait, did he mention Taiwan?
No, the one on Winnie the Pooh.
Oh, you're right. Fucking hell, I forgot he did that. It's funny because I think I'm not gonna say what I'm gonna say. Anyways, there you go. Let's wrap it up there. Fucking Pleiades didn't show up today, that little bitch. It's funny because he was supposed to host, and maybe he busted a Nyaru and saw that you were gonna be here and just didn't think he had to. The only reason JD hosted was because it turned out he didn't have to like disappear. We thought he was like gonna die.
Yeah,
remember?
No, I'm here.
Next week we have some of JD's friends on, and we're going to talk about panel convention ideas.
No, we're going to be talking about what they do at panels, or like the panels they give. And so we're going to be talking Japanese bread.
Oh, so we're not talking about panel convention ideas? Because that was a topic I was going to say for Janet, and I thought, like, no, we'll just talk about Mahjong for 45 minutes.
No, we're talking Japanese bread and whatever else they want to talk about.
I wanted to bring up
bread.
I wanted to bring up the Ikebana thing, and we never even brought that up.
Oh man, yeah, because I was actually also just editing photos from that. And,
Janet,
the short thing is it went really good.
Well, next time.
Ikebana panel. Anyway, tomorrow we're playing Wild Arms 2, myself, Warren, and Snacks. Saturday is Drink Talk Roll. I will not be on it. I will be at Ronin Expo. Maybe. It's funny because I say that, but I doubt I'll actually go. I have a press badge. If I don't go, maybe I'll turn up on the Drink Talk Roll. We'll see. But that's it. And next Tuesday, UPC. And yeah, that's it. It's my birthday. It was my birthday. Everyone give me a gift. Someone go get me some more.
I have gifts for you. I just need to send them.
Everyone give me gifts.
Manuel,
box.
Here's a gift. You're a boomer.
Anyway, peace out. It's hot. I'm going to open up all the windows after this, and good night. Oh, shout out to Ed, Kenneth, and Rabbit. .com/ADG and yeah, support us especially because I think it's coming up that time of the year that I hate the most when I have to pay for like all the site upkeep, and it's surprisingly expensive, and it gets more expensive every year. It's like $500.
What?
Well, it's like 400, but like it's above 400. I always assume that this year's going to be more, so we'll see.
Okay.
Yeah, it's a lot of money to keep the site running.
So yeah, please help us keep the site running.
Who knows?
Subscribe to our Patreon.
Give us money because we need it.
Bye.
Bye.